Hi there, I'm William, an archivist and a nerd, and it's been a while. But that's beside the point. Today, we're going to talk about something I haven't really seen discussed or brought up before. Archivists, specifically archivists in Japan. Why are they so rare? Stick around and find out. Japan, land of the rising fun. I probably should not call it that, but as a bit of a weeb, I nonetheless look at the island nation through semi-rose-colored glasses. Perhaps it's because so much of my own heritage is from another island nation. You know, the one where they do criminal things to food and call it high cuisine. But we're getting off track. Today, I want to talk about archivists in Japan. Now, when I say they're rare, your first thought is still probably, what's an archivist? I get that a lot. For example, when I tried to explain what it is I do, my friend Alex called me human Google. A nice compliment, but not exactly accurate. To explain it to you in easy-to-understand terms, think of the Nicolas Cage film, National Treasure. Okay, good. Now think of the female lead in that movie. Do you remember her? Good. I don't remember her name, and frankly, I'm a bit lazy to go looking it up. But think about what she does, working at the Smithsonian. It's kinda like that, except not all of us work at the Smithsonian. But we all do try to collect, protect, and respect history. Got it? Good. So that's the gist of what we do. And we do that in countries all over the world. Except for Japan. Japan is really weird about it. Not like weird in the sense of, oh, they archive in a funny way. No, because all archivists archive in a funny way. We do that without fail. What makes archivists weird in Japan are how comparatively few there are. Now, let's get a couple of things straight. Of course, Japanese archivists exist. I mean, clearly. I'm also coming at this from the perspective of an American archivist and just an American person. I can be interested in this topic. I can try, within my limited purview of only being able to read English, research this topic, but ultimately, you know, and I know, and everybody knows that I will not be as intimately familiar with the ins and outs of the industry in Japan as Japanese archivists, and possibly just Japanese people in general. I mention all of this to say that, hey, if I get things wrong, and there's always the possibility that I may get things wrong, please feel free to call me out on that. I would rather we figure out what's wrong and we address it so that we can all learn what's correct and learn better and move forward together than just continue along with what we think is right, but in actuality that information is wrong. Okay, with that all out of the way. The best way I can describe the profession in Japan is to say that not quite that they're behind the times, which is the phrasing I used when I first wrote this script. Now I'm thinking that's inaccurate and just untrue. I guess it would be more accurate to say that the profession is undervalued there. What I mean by this is, if you're trying to find archival work in Japan, the positions are few and far between, comparatively speaking. Now, let's be fair and accurate. There is a National Japanese Archive, and you will find some university archives here and there, such as the United Nations University Archive. But by and large, again, just by and large, those are most of the archives in Japan. Contrast this with America. You have small historical societies. Local libraries run archives. Schools have archives. Many government positions, museums, and even the sort of work I do, working in a corporate archive. A lot of these types of archival work aren't seen as particularly needed or valued in Japan in the same way they are in a lot of other nations. As for why this is the case, I'm not entirely sure. If there are any people who have spent significant time in Japan, please give me some sense if you've got any in the comments. My ability to research the topic is limited because it spills into cultural differences about a profession and varying approaches to historical preservation. What I can say, however, is that slowly, things are starting to change, and that even if archivists as a profession aren't especially represented in Japan, there still has been a large amount of archival work done there, as you would naturally expect. Let's cover the first point first, that things are slowly starting to change. In late December 2019, the National Archives of Japan announced that beginning in 2020, it would start doing archival certifications. This was and is a big deal, as no sort of certification at the national level had previously existed. It's only unfortunate in the timing, because as we all know now, 2019 turned into 2020, and 2020 upended the world. Still, however, for the years of 2020 and 2021, archivists sat for and took the certification. Even with this, however, it's clear the profession is still in a sort of weird, underrepresented space. In a country of 125.7 million people, guess how many nationally certified archivists there are as of April 1st of this year? Have you made your guess yet? Maybe you want to say 10,000. 1,000? Not even close. As of the recording of this video, only 247 individuals have successfully gotten this certification. Also worth pointing out is that more than likely, some of these 247 work for the National Archives, and as such, the amount of archivists operating outside of the National Archives is potentially even lower than the listed 247. As for the second point, even if archivists aren't prominent in Japan in a traditional sense, I do believe this work is still being done. Consider the pop-up museum, a popular way of displaying pieces of Japanese culture, history, and art to the public. An important part of these exhibits is getting to see older materials that have been properly preserved and curated. Now, these things aren't just sitting in a box in a broom closet waiting to be dragged out. Someone, to some degree, is taking care of them. I don't really have a clear ending point for this video. I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure why the archival profession has been adopted so late within Japan. They only started doing national certifications just under 3 years ago, and represent less than 0.000001% of the total population. As I asked previously, if any Japanese historians, archivists, or academics find this video, I'd be super interested to hear your perspective. If you liked this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm trying to get back into the swing of making content at the intersection of nerd culture and archival science, and your support would mean a lot. Have a nice day.